Let's clap it out. Clap. This is a very, very strong roster, very good roster. Unfortunately, when they released it, they didn't really put the players in the correct order of like position and everything. We'll do that ourselves. It's okay. Maybe I can go to their article. That might help a little bit if I go to their article. Regardless, this is a very strong roster, very good roster that Greg Berhalter put out. I don't really think there is anything to complain. I put out on Twitter and I said it. I do have center backs that I have ahead of Miles Robinson, but it's also not really a hill I'm willing to die on, right? It's not really a hill I'm willing to die on. I think the roster is very good for the most part. Remember, he doesn't have a few players available, of course, like Tyler Adams is injured, so he's not available. And he selected this 23-man roster. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to change the screen for you so you can see the players by position. So I'm doing this for you. So you can do for me right now is just smash the like button for the video if you want to. I'm not forcing you to do anything. But here it is, the 23-man roster that Greg Berhalter is bringing for the matches against Ghana and Germany. Remember, we play Germany October 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You're going to be able to watch the game on TNT, Telemundo, and also on Peacock. Now, the Ghana match will be October 17th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can watch the match on TNT, Universal, and also on Peacock. The game against Germany will be played in Connecticut, and the one against Ghana will be playing in Nashville, Tennessee. So let's go through the roster here. Let's go through the October roster. This is a very good roster. The goalkeepers, he brought Ethan Horvath and Matt Turner. Both play for Nottingham Forest. Horvath is not even making the bench. But again, I'm okay with this, right? I'm okay with this specific roster. And the reason I'm having two goalkeepers, and I'll talk about Jedi in a second. He has to be injured. He has to be injured. The reason I didn't say Jedi is a complaint is because he has to be injured. But going on here, goalkeepers, Horvath and Matt Turner. Turner's our number one, so it totally makes sense that he'll be there. And I know a lot of you are going to want me to talk about Matt Turner's interview about Berhalter, Gio Reyna. I'll talk about that towards the end of the stream. And Ethan Horvath is not playing, but this is a window with two matches, so I expect Matt Turner to play 180 minutes. So it doesn't really make sense for him to bring another goalkeeper that is playing, like, for example, Drake Callender from Inter Miami, take him away from Miami, even though Miami's pretty much out of the playoffs at this point. Just have Ethan there. So that one I'm not going to talk about much. Now let's go to the defenders. And we have a few surprises on the defenders, right? You go through here. Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic has been called in. He just came back from injury, literally played this midweek for them in the Champions League against Lazio. Actually made a mistake that led to Lazio's goal, and then Celtic ended up losing 2-1. It was his mistake. He lost the ball. He was dispossessed. But Carter-Vickers makes the roster, and I actually think this is a very big surprise and a pleasant surprise that Carter-Vickers makes the roster. Then you got Serginho Dest from PSV. He's playing mostly as a left back for PSV, but we know he's a right back for the United States, and he's actually a right back in general. Dejon Jones from the New England Revolution can play left back and play right back. He's a righty, but he plays mostly on the left back position, similar to what's happening in the Dest right now. But Dejon Jones is an option for the left back and right back. You got Christopher Lund coming back from Palermo in the second division of Italy. He is a left back. Last camp, he looked competent. I talked about this before. He didn't look great, but he didn't look bad. So I thought calling Christopher Lund once again would be ideal to see what he can actually do, because this camp, unlike the last one where we faced Oman and Uzbekistan, we're actually going to play Germany, now with the new coach, Julian Nagelsmann, and Ghana. These are two very good teams. These are World Cup teams that actually are very competitive. And I know Germany has been struggling, but they literally just got a new coach. They fired Hansi Flick. We're going to do a whole match preview for that. I'm going to bring a German guy to talk about Germany, and he can teach me how to say certain words in German. But anyhow, I think overall it's going to be a very competitive camp. So it will be a good one to test Christopher Lund. I like his call-up. Tim Ream from Fulham, despite a lot of criticism that Tim Ream has been getting, his season with Fulham hasn't been off to a good start, to be fair, especially when you compare it to last season where he was tremendous. He was fantastic. But I still think Tim Ream is our best left center back right now, and he should be called up. He should be called up. But we do need to keep in mind, we need a phase out of Tim Ream at some point. He's not. Look, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't predict this, but I do not believe Tim Ream will make it playing at a high level, a professional high level by 2026. For the Copa America, he should be fine. Probably will be our starter. But again, we'll see. Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, not playing much for Crystal Palace, but he's absolutely one of our best center backs and should be there. Miles Robinson from Atlanta United. Personally, I have a few center backs these days that I rate higher than Miles. One of them is Mark McKenzie. Mark McKenzie is injured, so I can't really do much about that. John Brooks, I do rate John Brooks ahead of Miles Robinson, but again, there are personal issues between Brooks and Berhalter, so he's not going to be there. And then lastly, I would even consider, I guess, Walker Zimmerman maybe over Miles. I don't know. Those might be just like six and half a dozen. Brooks and Miles. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Do you prefer Brooks or sorry, not Brooks, Miles or Walker Zimmerman? RD Revolver, Atlanta United fans say, I'd rather have Wiley, Vines, Token over Jones. So Vines is injured. Sam Vines is injured, not playing for Antwerp. Caleb Wiley and John Token might be in the U23 camp that's going to be released tomorrow, the roster. So I think Token and Wiley might be in the Olympic camp. That's a U23 camp. That could be one of the reasons that they're not here. And I understand the senior squad is more important than the Olympic squad, but you guys get the point that I'm making. Let's go here, and then you got Joe Scally, obviously, from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now, everyone's asking about A-Rob or Jedi Robinson from Fulham. Here's the thing. The reason I'm not calling it a snub is because Jedi or A-Rob, he's absolutely the starting left back for us. 100% our starting left back. So if he's not here, he's obviously dealing with an injury, whether it's minor, major, I don't know. He's been playing for Fulham, but it's definitely something minor and he needs rest. I don't mind it. We know what A-Rob can do. He is clearly our best left back, so it's not a snub. It has to be something to do with an injury, in my opinion. I didn't see any official reports. But let's go to the midfielders now. So midfielders, you have Johnny Cardoso from Internacional in Brazil. He was fantastic for Internacional in the Copa Libertadores. Unfortunately, they got knocked out yesterday by Fluminense. He got knocked out yesterday by Fluminense in the semifinals, so Internacional was out of the Libertadores. But I would argue that Johnny was probably their best player. He was probably their best player in the Copa Libertadores. Okay, maybe not their best player, but I'd say top three. Best might be a stretch, but he was a top three player for Internacional in their deep run in the Copa Libertadores, and that's one of the reasons why he didn't go to Europe. They wanted to hold him till the end of the season. Now, will he go to Europe? He's probably going to be in Europe by the summer of 2024. There is a small possibility that he could go in January, but most likely during the summer. Going on, you got Luca De La Torre from Celta de Vigo. Absolutely has to be there. And then here's a call that maybe is not a bit of a surprise if you're following here at the channel, if you watch the USMNT Abroad series. Leonard Maloney from Heidenheim. I think I said their name right, in the Bundesliga. I watched one game from Leonard Maloney. One game. He plays as a 6, can also play as a center back, and he's playing the Bundesliga. And I watched one game. I watched him play against Union Berlin this weekend. In the game I watched, he looked extremely competent against the Bundesliga side. He's a lefty, right? He's a lefty. At least that's what I noticed in the game. He can play center back and play defensive mid. So I like this call-up of Leonard Maloney. I would like to see how he can do. We'll see how he does for the U.S. men's national team. But I think this is a good call from Greg because you don't have Tyler Adams available. Tanner Tessman didn't really look good last camp, and Tanner is playing the second division of Italy. This guy's playing the Bundesliga, so there's levels to it in regards to how well you're playing. So Leonard Maloney being there is a great call-up. We need to see what he can do. I hope Leonard Maloney and Johnny get meaningful minutes this camp. By meaningful minutes, I mean at least 45 minutes or something that we can actually maybe judge them, right? Then you got Weston McKennie from Juventus, of course, a lock. Yunus Musa from Milan, a lock. And Giovanni Reina is back. The Berhalter Reina saga is over. Gio Reyna is officially back with the U.S. men's national team. Now we can finally put all that to rest. Gio accepted the call-up. Berhalter called up Gio. And based on Matt Turner's interview that I'm going to talk about later, it looks like Greg himself sees Gio as a 10. And Gio Reyna is listed as a midfielder. Listen to this again. Gio Reyna is listed as a midfielder. These are 2 wins right there. Those are 2 great things. Gio being back and Greg Berhalter listed him as a midfielder. This is big. Now, Gio hasn't played any minutes for Dortmund, so he could look a bit rusty in camp. Regardless, I hope he gets minutes. I hope he plays well. It's just truly great to see him back. And then you have Malik Tillman from PSV. Malik Tillman struggled early in the season with PSV, but the past 2 games, Malik Tillman has looked very good for PSV. Last camp, Tillman also played central. So Tillman will be playing for the U.S. men's national team again and probably central. Now, one thing I noticed here is they put that Malik Tillman has 64 caps and 0 goals. There is no way Malik Tillman has 64 caps for the U.S. men's national team. He absolutely, here, look at this. Malik Tillman. If you look at his number, 64 caps and 0 goals. He does not have 64 caps, which makes you wonder, which U.S. men's national team player has 64 caps? Because look at it this way. That might have been a player that they were going to call up. Which U.S. men's national team player that is a midfielder has 64 caps? Listen, one of you sickos right there, we have these sickos, USMNT sickos, go figure that out. Give me the player that has 64 caps and plays in the midfield for the United States. Tillman is not the player, but Tillman makes the roster. Now, forwards. We're at the forward section right here. You got Brendan Aronson from Union Berlin, really struggling early in the season, not playing well for Union Berlin at all, but I still think he should make the roster, and he's there. Floating Balogun from Monaco, 4 caps, 2 goals. Balogun is back to the U.S. men's national team, rightfully so. Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg, playing on the wing this time. Last time, Greg listed Paredes as a defender. This time, he's listed as a forward, which means we're only going to see him playing on the wing, which was what we saw anyway last camp. Paredes just played on the wing. Ricardo Pepi from PSV makes the roster, so no Jesus, no Haji Wright. Sargent is injured. So it looks like the go-to center forwards for Greg right now are Pepi and Balogun, especially with Sargent out. But to be fair, those are probably your 2 best options at the moment, Pepi and Balogun, even though I really like Josh Sargent. I think he should be in the roster when he's healthy. And Sargent can play the wing if you need him to. And then Pepi, you got Christian Pulisic from Milan and Tim Weah from Juventus. Overall, there's really nothing to complain about in this roster. I guess we could keep talking about how Greg should talk to John Brooks and get along with him and try to find a way to integrate him. But again, that would be the only thing. Every single other name in this roster, it was perfect, right? It was perfect because, see it this way. You could say also Jedi Robinson is missing. That's definitely not on Greg. There's no way Greg would leave a healthy Anthony Robinson out of the roster. Robinson is definitely injured or dealing with a minor injury. So this roster is nearly perfect. I don't know. You can let me know in the comment section of this video, but it's close to perfection. And I'll show you one thing. Let me show you the roster I put out yesterday that I would want to bring. It's pretty much the same that Greg brought. This is what I put out yesterday. And the roster that I put here is pretty much the same as Greg. The only thing that he changed was no Brooks, which I expected him to not bring Brooks. If you look at the roster I have on screen, no Brooks. He brought Miles Robinson, and he brought in Leonard Maloney. He brought 7 midfielders. So the team you see on screen that I put out has 22 players. Greg brought a 23-man roster. So he brought exactly the same roster I did, but he added Maloney because he brought 23, replaced Brooks with Miles, and then the left backs, he didn't bring Robinson and Breck Shea. He didn't bring Robinson or Breck Shea. He brought Lund and Dejon Jones because Robinson is injured and Breck Shea retired, unfortunately. Which, by the way, everyone, we have part 2 of the Breck Shea interview coming out today at 1 p.m. Eastern time. This was my favorite one. He talked about his time at Stoke of player development, Klinsmann. He actually, in the interview that you're going to see today, Breck Shea was actually unhinged on this one. I'm pretty sure he calls FC Dallas a mediocre franchise in the interview today. So you're not going to want to miss that at 1 p.m. Eastern time. The title is going to be should USMNT prospects stay in MLS or go to Europe? Breck talks about that. It was actually pretty fun. So essentially, the roster that Berhalter put out, it's the same one I wanted yesterday, so I can't be hypocritical and I can't really complain about it. Now, let me put out one more thing here. And if you just arrived, make sure to smash the like button. These are the games that the United States will be playing this October. We're going to be playing Germany, and you can take a screenshot of this or just go on the website. We're going to be playing Germany October 14th at 3 p.m. You're going to be able to watch the match on TNT, Telemundo, or Peacock. By the way, we will be doing a match preview for every single match, and I will bring a German guest, and I will bring a guest from Ghana as well. Okay, so we're going to keep you here informed in Tactical Manager TV about both teams, Germany and Ghana. We'll release a preview like a day or two before the match. We'll do live watch alongs for the game, everything, full coverage. And then we play Ghana October 17th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Nashville, Tennessee. You can watch the game on TNT, Universal, and Peacock. And you can let me know in the comment section of this video if you're doing the rewatch, if you're going to attend any of these matches. Now, let me go through the super chats here. I'll leave the roster on screen in case you just arrived. That way you can look through the roster. I'm going to answer some super chats, and I'll answer some regular chats, and then we can end the stream. And if you haven't already, get those likes to at least 300 during the stream. I don't know how many we have right now, but get those likes up. It's free. It's a great way to support the channel. And I thank you very much, and I give you a virtual kiss. Did you get that kiss? That was for you. If you hit the like button. If you didn't hit the like button, I'm not giving you a kiss. And if you don't want my kiss, I'm sorry. I just kissed you. Frank Kessler, Greg Berhalter is going 4-3-3 with Maloney and Johnny, right? No, I doubt it. I doubt he'll do that. He's probably going to play Maloney or Johnny. Might try both of them one at a time at the 6. There's also rumors that Greg Berhalter might try a back 3, and Maloney could be tested as a center back. Don't be surprised if you see Maloney playing as a center back too. There are rumors that Berhalter plans on utilizing him also as a center back. Okay. So that's the one thing. He's not going to play Johnny and Maloney together. I don't think so. Julian Viva is saying, how long until Brenny is on the roster? He's been playing well. I want to see Zach Booth and Paxton Aronson as project call-ups. Who is Brenny? Have I missed something? Who's Brenny? So Zach Booth just made his debut like 2 weeks ago or a week ago in the Eredivisie. He's the brother of Taylor Booth. And Paxton Aronson, I think he's close of getting a senior call-up. He needs to consistently get minutes for Eintracht Frankfurt, but I would expect him to get one call-up or two within the next 12 months. If he continues to play in the Bundesliga regularly, not playing too regularly, he's coming off the bench late in the game. But we'll put it this way. He's consistently getting 10 to 15 minutes per game, roughly like that. But who's Brenny? Did I miss something? Anthony's saying Trusty doesn't play much, but I prefer him over Miles Robinson. Yeah, I don't know much about in regards to Trusty, man. I don't know if I would put Trusty over Miles. I understand Trusty's in the Premier League, but he's not playing. And Sheffield United lost 8-0 to Newcastle 1 week. And then the following week, they were down 2-0, and then they just played Trusty at the end of the game. So if he couldn't get an opportunity after their freaking defense leaked 8 goals, freaking Swiss cheese defense full of holes, and he still couldn't get an opportunity, I don't know if he's better than Miles. It might be about the same. It's tough to know, man. It's tough to know in that sense. Yeah, he plays in the Premier League, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily better. But going on here, Jeff is saying, hey, Tac, G's formations, tactics, subs, strategy, BJ and Aaron Long, love Jeff. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much. Yeah, so here's the thing. The roster that Berhalter put out is very good. Very good. Like I said, I really can't really complain about it. I can't do it. I would literally be a straight up hater if I was complaining about this roster. Saying Brendan Aronson maybe? Is Brendan Aronson? Maybe Julian can clarify in the comments. And no super chat, Julian. You can just send a regular comment. Who's Brendan? Is it Brendan Aronson? Now we need to see how Greg does tactically, his starting 11, how he puts out this team to play. Is he going to play maybe Musa, McKennie, and Gio Reyna? Is he going to try maybe Johnny, Gio, and McKennie? Musa, what exactly is he going to do? The subs, how is he going to rotate? What's going to be his tactical approach, formation? I'm interested in seeing that from Greg now. The roster is great. He picked probably all the best players he could have for the most part, with maybe one exception, maybe two. So we'll see. We'll see what Greg does in camp. We're going to be obviously covering the entire camp here at Tactical Manager TV. But that's all. And I know a lot of you people are talking about Matt Turner's interview. I don't know if you guys watched Matt Turner's interview. So Matt Turner came out and he talked about how the players supported Greg. They want to play for Greg, and how the whole Geo Greg thing was a misunderstanding. Here's the thing. I know some people are using this interview to, hype up Greg and talk about how Greg was right and how Greg's a great guy. And some people are trying to downplay the interview, and they're hating on Matt Turner for it. I'll just say this. I'm not going to put out any names. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say this. And even if you hate me, you can't really disagree with me on this. Have I not brought plenty of players to the channel at this point? I brought many players to the channel at this point. Okay, I'm going to put it this way. I brought Chris Richards, Brendan Aronson, Paxton Aronson, Breck Shea, Jeff Cameron, Hurt Gomez, who else? Jonathan Gomez, Caden Clark, Cade Cowell. I don't know. I probably have brought like 25 to 30 players to the channel at this point. And what I will tell you is players don't really lie on camera, but they say one thing on camera and they say something else to you off camera. Not as in a lie. Yeah, Eric Palmer Brown too. I brought Eric Palmer Brown. So I'm not saying any of the interviews I did, the players lied on camera, but they hold back on how they say, the tone and the words they use. But when you're off camera, just hanging out with them, talking to them off camera, because when you do an interview, you obviously talk a little bit to the player before. And when you end the interview, you still talk for a couple minutes. Certain things that they say are different. So no player, no sane player is going to come out and shit on Berhalter, and they shouldn't do so. They shouldn't do it. Berhalter right now is the boss, and if they do it, they'll probably have some problems with the boss. So when a player when a player says something on an interview like that, take it with a grain of salt. Not because it's not his actual opinion, because I'll tell you one thing, and I'm going to say this right now. Every single player that I've talked to off camera, none of them have ever said they don't like Greg. Ever, ever. Any of them. They've never said that. They've said, from a personal standpoint, they get along Greg very well. It doesn't mean they all wanted Greg back, okay? But they're never going to say that publicly. Maybe 10 years from now, once they're retired and Greg's not the national team coach, they don't care. Maybe they'll say it. But right now, take it with a grain of salt. Just take it with a grain of salt. The players are not going to say anything outside of that. If you look at Matt Turner, what he's saying, he's on Gio's side, he's on Berhalter's side, which he should. So what I'm trying to say is don't hate on Matt Turner for this. There's limitations towards what Matt Turner can or cannot say. Let's see here. Julian Viva is saying Brenny is Brendan Aronson. So you were asking about, so you're saying, how long will Brendan Aronson be on the roster for? Well, as of now, he's still going to be there. The only way Brendan Aronson would move out of the roster is if Kevin Paredes continues to emerge and if Luca Coleosho maybe accepts a call-up or Taylor Booth comes back from injury. If Coleosho accepts a call-up, Taylor Booth comes back from if Taylor Booth comes back from injury and Coleosho accepts a call-up, I could see Brendan Aronson getting pushed out of the roster based on how he's playing at the moment, okay? So before we go, once again, drop a like if we haven't hit 300 already. Help us out. I'm going to read through the roster's names once again, and then I'll finally end the stream. And tomorrow, apparently, there's a U23 roster, the Olympic roster being released. If it is released tomorrow, for sure, I'll do an Olympic roster live stream. If you guys want me to, just let me know in the comment section. So real quick, the 23 players that Greg Berhalter called up for the October camp against Germany and Ghana: Ethan Horvath from Nottingham Forest, Matt Turner from Nottingham Forest, Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic, Serginho Dest from PSV, Dejuan Jones from New England Revolution, Christopher Lund from Palermo, Tim Ream from Fulham, Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, Miles Robinson from Atlanta, Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach, Johnny Cardoso from Internacional, Luca De La Torre from Celta de Vigo, Leonard Maloney from Heidenheim in the Bundesliga, Wesley McKennie from Juventus, Yunus Musa from Milan, Gio Reyna from Borussia Dortmund, Malik Tillman from PSV. And then the forwards are Brendan Aronson from Union Berlin, Fullerton Balogun from Monaco, Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg, Ricardo Pepi from PSV, Christian Pulisic from Milan, and Tim Weah from Juventus. And Jeff, he's also sending a kiss. Yeah, I sent a kiss to everyone, because you all hit the like button. And Carl Tanner saying, where's Jedi? I didn't see any news or reports in regards to Jedi. So I'm assuming he has to be injured. Greg would not leave him out of the roster. So Anthony Robinson is definitely either with a minor injury or something more major. It's probably precaution because these are friendlies. And in the last camp, he even had a minor injury. So he's probably not traveling because of that. It's definitely just an injury. There's no way Greg would leave Robinson out of this roster. So everyone, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching this after the stream. Tomorrow we'll do the U23 lineup, or not lineup, roster. And today at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have part 2 of the Breck Shea interview. My favorite one, an unhinged Breck Shea that did not hold back in this specific episode. It was lots of fun recording with Breck Shea. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Next week, we will have the USMNT abroad on Monday, the USA versus Germany match preview, probably on Thursday, 2 days before the game. And then on Saturday, not this Saturday, the other one, the United States will be facing Germany. And then on the other week, we face Ghana. And if you've been watching the World Cup for long enough, 06, 2010, 2014, we meet Ghana once again. All right. Thanks for watching. Drop a like before you go. Drop a comment and have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. I'll give the predictions, big payday, when the game happens on the live watch line. Okay?